Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound, and if you're looking for some coin collecting tips and help, you are at the right place. If this is your first time here, as always, like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for instant notifications so that way you can get more new videos right away. And I upload daily, man. A lot of great stuff we're going to talk about today, no exception. It's kind of a unique video in which, if we're out looking for some pretty interesting coins, some real pieces of treasure that we can either sell or add it as part of our error collection, then you are at the right place, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are going to focus on errors that exist on the rim and the edge of the coin. Okay, two of the areas on a coin in which not a lot of people really take a close look at. And we are going to take a look at every conceivable error and lack thereof on these particular areas of the coin. So we have a couple reference photos that I took here. Okay, of course, the first one is going to be a front-facing image of this Eisenhower dollar, this 1972D. And you see my little pointer. Okay, the pointer is notating the rim area. It's a raised kind of rim or fin that encapsulates the entire design of the coin. All right, so that particular instance of the coin is where we're going to focus on. In addition, we are also going to take a look at the edge. Typically, coin collectors would hold a coin correctly on its edge as a way of looking at it through a jeweler's loupe or a magnifier, things of that nature. But not a lot of people spend some time to take a look at what exists on the edge of the coin. Okay, so in this particular case, with this Eisenhower dollar, you are going to notice that on the edge of the coin, there are a number of kind of grooves or lines that sit right on the edge of the coin. And, some would say it's a great way of gripping the coin. Maybe that is by design, or it is part of the design. All right. Now, let's understand that our U.S. pennies and nickels are plain edged. Okay. They're not going to have those, what they call reading lines is what those are. Affectionately referred to in the hobby. Your Roosevelt dimes, your Washington quarters, your Kennedy half dollars, and I will get into the actual dollar coins that exist today. But those other denominations would have the reading lines on them. All right, so they have a texture when you hold the coin. The current age of golden dollars or Native American dollars or presidential dollars, what do you want, whatever you want to call it, are a little bit unique. Okay, they have a lettered edge. Okay, the lettering is added to the coin during the strike. All right, so to kind of segue into the best possible direction of this video, I have an image of a what they call a collar. Okay, which is a part of a minting press. Here is one, by the way, this image is courtesy of coinnews.net, and this is an actual image of a collar. All right, it's actually a lot bigger and broader than some of you probably even know, but the coin sits right smack dab in the middle. And you see that area where I have the red arrows? Okay, that is the collar. It's actually very big and broad, but that would seat the coins as these coins are being struck. So when a blank is being seated in that collar, okay, right on that anvil die, it's the stationary die that sits underneath that collar, the coin will get squeezed during the first initial mintage of that coin or that strike, and it'll push the metal out and squeeze the coin out to the collar where you're going to see the reading or the lettering, which is on those dollar coins. So that's how you achieve the reading on the edge of a coin on those higher denominations, and that's how you would achieve the lettering on the dollar coins. Now keep in mind, as big and broad and as industrial and sturdy as this thing looks, It does undergo some incredible wear. If you can imagine coins being minted at a rapid rate, and then these things will break down, they'll chip, throughout the process. These things experience wear and tear, much like the vital components of our automobiles goes through some pretty good wear and tear. So things and pieces and little parts and knickknacks fall off of these collars and eventually on the dies as well. All right, so the collars do undergo some pretty rigorous usage in its time as seeding these coins during a strike. So what I wanted to do is talk about some of the more notable edge or rim errors that we all come across in, like coin rolls or pocket change. If something looks kind of funny, it probably is, something worthwhile taken out. All the coins on this list, in some aspect, is valuable to an error collector. Okay, so people do pay money for a number of these. These errors aren't as well known as some of the other errors that exist on the actual faces of the coin and not so much the rim or the edge. But in this case, these all have some sort of value. So the first one that I wanted to kind of draw your attention to is going to be this 2001 P Lincoln Memorial Set. And this one is, by the way, courtesy of Magic Fan 007 on eBay. He actually sells quite a few error coins on there. So if you have time, check out his eBay store. He's got a lot of great stuff, and it's all affordably priced, surprisingly. So this 2001 P right here, this coin that you see here, you may not know directly looking at it without looking at the actual edge of the coin. But this one is a variety called a tilted collar, or in some way a misaligned die. So if the die is slightly misaligned, then you'll see it on the front of the coin. It'll have the appearance of being slightly off center, while actually on the back of the coin it'll be perfectly centered. Okay, so it's kind of a funny phenomenon, but it's really neat, and again, very collectible and very valuable. If you turn the coin on its edge, okay, so you're going to see the image right here of this coin's edge. You're going to see that it kind of looks a little railroaded. All right, it's got this overlapping kind of staircase look, and that's all a byproduct of the coin not being seated properly in the collar, or sometimes the collar may not be plumb on the machinery, and when it strikes that initial strike on that blank, okay, it's going to strike unevenly, therefore leaving kind of this kind of railroaded look on the edge. Now, if it's a higher denomination coin where you have the reading, okay, it's a lot more dramatic than, say, this one here on this Lincoln cent. So I wanted to turn it over to an actual Roosevelt dime and show you exactly the difference of this tilted collar error on a coin that is reeded. All right, so on this particular example, you're going to see that the reading isn't quite struck all the way across on the edge of the coin, because it was the actual coin was seated, out of alignment during that strike. All right, and that's how that happens. It's a pretty neat phenomenon. Again, not a lot of people even bother to flip a coin on its edge to see if it is a tilted collar error, but this one is a phenomenal error to find out there in change. Okay, I've found a number of them. All right, so they are out there. They're a lot more common than you think. It's just nobody really pays attention to this particular error. So the next one I wanted to talk about is another neat edge error. Okay, and this is called a collar cud, or a collar die break. Okay, much like if you had a die break on like the face of the coin, like on the president's hair, or in the date, or in the motto, or whatever the case may be. You also have the opportunity to find one example of this type of die break action on the edge of the coin. All right, so I have a great example here, all provided by PattyMan98 on Coin Talk. I remember him bringing this up. He found this 2002 P Kennedy half dollar, and then he ended up grading it by NGC. But this one right here, you could see right on the edge on that reading, it's got a big old hunk of metal, And again, this is simply a byproduct of the collar undergoing some wear. And, you know, there might be a little chip on the very edge where the reading is. And, you know, on that strike, it'll show on the reading. You know, the coin will have this little lump on the edge. Okay, and that's what we have here on this collar cut or collar die break. So this is a pretty neat error. Again, not a lot of people bother to look for something like this, but these coins I've seen sell for $100, $200, $300 depending on what coin it exists on. Traditionally on like pennies and stuff, they're not going to be worth as much as say some of the higher denominations or even silver coins, like, you know, a silver eagle or a Morgan dollar, or, you know, like a silver Kennedy half dollar. Those are worth a lot more money with that collar cut. Excuse me. So the next one that I want to bring up here is probably one that we've all come across. With enough diligent searching, you're bound to find one of these, and they exist on quite a few coins right out of change. Okay, the rim cut is a small die break that occurs right on the rim. All right, so in this video, I'm not going to talk about actual large cuts that actually go into the design of the coin, but we're going to focus on stuff that happens on just the rim. So this rim cut here is also called a rim die break, okay, as another word for it. In the case of this coin that you see here, this is a 2018 Voyagers National Park Quarter. This particular example is being sold on eBay as we speak by Grant5842, so you can go ahead and check it out. Pretty neat coin right here. But, you know, this astute collector found this coin and change, and as you can see, it's got a little bit of a die break on there right on the rim. Okay, and believe it or not, these things sell for like $5 to $15 on a regular basis, and they are attributable through the Cuds on Coins website. All right, so a lot of these cuds right here, again, very collectible. There are a number of people in the community that look out for coins that look like this. To you and I, it may look minor, but again, you're talking about a quarter that's worth in that $5 to $15 range, depending on the size and strength, I guess, of that rim cut. So this is another fantastic error to look for. So the next one I have here is going to be an error type that we don't come across quite that often, okay? It's very labor intensive, and you'll see why. And it just doesn't really happen too much on the newer coins, okay? But the coin I wanted to highlight right here, as you can see, it's called, actually on this particular image, you have 3 coins that are sitting side by side, and the person is holding it together to help illustrate this type of reading error. So the name of this one is called infrequent reading. Okay, so in 1921, the Morgan dollar was the last year of that Morgan design series before it went into the production of the piece dollar type coin. Now, there are a few coins that exhibit what they call infrequent reading, which simply means is that the reading on these coins, okay, have 2 different types. All right, for this particular VAM type or variety type, it's called VAM number 4, in case you're curious. A regular Morgan dollar will exhibit 187 reading lines, whereas on the rare one, you can see it's a lot more wider spaced. It's even a little bit wider left to right. Will exhibit 157 reads on their lines, individual lines on that edge. Now, the tough part is counting them because I've tried it myself, and I've lost count a number of times trying to figure out if I have that. But the mere appearance of the width of those reads is distinguishable between one that's regular and another one that has that special variety error in there. But this is something, again, that you don't see quite that often on modern coinage, mainly because of today's quality control measures and just keeping a standard going on each denomination as far as how many reads are going to be on that collar. You probably won't ever see the infrequent reading errors on any of the newer coins. So there you go. That's Next type of error. So I have one more that I want to talk about, and I've come across them. Some of you have probably come across a number of these, and this is called the finned rim, or it's also affectionately referred to as the railroad rim. All right, so if a coin is being struck and there's way too much pressure, okay, you're going to get some of the metal flow that goes up, along the collar and up the actual wall side of the hammer die as it's being struck. Think of it as squeezing a marshmallow between two graham crackers. Okay, you're going to have all that extraneous material come out of the side, and that's exactly what you see here. So we have a 1999p Roosevelt dime. Okay, you see this more frequently on Roosevelt dimes because those coins are a lot smaller and they're still subjected to some pretty heavy pressure, compared to the quarters and the $50 and things like that. So these sample images are provided by Magic Fan 007, okay? And you'll notice the finning of the rim on a couple of these examples. And we also have a 1977p, which shows the finning a lot better than the previous two images. Okay, again, both by Magic Fan 007. So, the fin rim, again, is something that you would see and find on some of their newer coins. Usually you'll find them on the smaller denominations, smaller planchets, as again, those are subjected to more pressure than the larger denomination pieces. So that's that one. Now, I wanted to get out of the way, all right, and I wanted to take a little time to debunk this particular phenomenon that you see on this Lincoln set. Now, these come up in coin rolls quite often, and they also come up even more if you're a fan of going through like bulk wheat cent bags, because a lot of these were produced during the 50s and 60s. All right, so it's only natural that you would find them in the older coinage, but you do come across these in regular Lincoln cent, boxes straight from the bank. And what this is here is actually post-mint damage caused by a previous encased cent mock-up. Okay, so I know I have, back 30, 40 years ago, I've produced a number of these lucky encasement cents. Okay, so you throw a penny in there with a quarter or whatever in that machine, and the coin, the penny that you put in there will be encased by that aluminum kind of like keychain holder, which tells you, here's, carry this for good luck. And what the machine is actually doing is it's crimping the aluminum edge finned area to where it holds the coin, and it squeezes the coin rim so that way it looks all flat and railroad like on here. So if you see a coin that looks similar to this, you'll know exactly what it is. But not a lot of people know that this is actually a damaged coin that has come out of a encasement. So there you go. That's I just wanted to kind of bring that up and let everybody know that that is not a legitimate error, but it is indeed a damaged coin. Unfortunately, I've seen some key day coins that were shoved into an encasement at one time, like a 1909S. I even saw a 14D and a 22 plane that came out of an encasement, and they're actually worth more if they stayed in their original encasement, because more than likely those coins were in a vintage encasement that you probably don't see as much on the collectible circuit as, say, some of the newer stuff from like the 60s and 70s. But anyways, that's it. That's going to conclude this particular broadcast on rim and edge errors. Sorry it's so long-winded. It's just trying to, explain everything the best I can with the few images that I have at my disposal. But I want to hear what you guys think. This is really neat. Not a lot of people have talked about this type of collecting, but it's another tool for your guys' toolbox when you're out there, this holiday season, and you're going through coin rolls or pocket change, and you're coming across newer, better, fresher inventory out there. Keep an eye out for these kind of under the radar type of errors and varieties that tend to be left out of the mix. So I want to thank you guys for joining in. As always, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for instant notification. As always, I'm your host, Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful evening, happy hunting, and I hope to hear from you guys.